Good morning, George.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm good.
today we're going to attempt several things. Replace this, which I already did. And it's very simple, so I'm going to explain it to you without going through the thing here. I'm going to take the thermostat assembly. It's over there. Take it out. It has two thermostats, which we're going to replace, and then the water pump, which is right over here. We're going to take that and replace it. Now, the problem is actually two major things. One is that a lot of these bolts are so tight and full of rust that they snap off, and hopefully that doesn't happen, because if it does, we got a major issue. So that's one thing. The other thing is getting in here, so you're limited to space and you're like this, and that's the other thing. But let's start out with this thing here. Now, this is a belt tensioner, and what it does, it's got this spring in here that puts pressure on this belt and keeps it tight so it doesn't fly out. Now, this one here, there's nothing wrong with it other than it's old, and I would rather replace it. It was only $250. So I'd rather replace it now than go down the road, lose the belt, overheat the engine. So I replaced it. Now, this sits like this, and it falls on your toes. Aye. So this sits like this, and you have a bolt here, which is here, and one in the middle, and that's it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, what you're supposed to use, you take a ratchet with this size hole, which is, I think, 1 inch. Yeah, this is a little small. And what you do is you take and you use it to move this. So you lift it up, takes the tension off the belt, right? And you take the old belt off, take these two bolts off of here, and then it's a matter of, you take this and you let it hang here. You put your two bolts in here, then you take this and you lift it up and put it in here. Now, I don't have anything this big, so what I used a pry bar that would fit between here and here, put it in here, caught the edge over here so that the belt had some place to sit. Then I lifted it up, and then it's a matter of getting this thing in here. You release it, voila, the belt is on, it's got tension, etc., etc. Okay, so now what we're going to try to do right now is remove this assembly here. So it has 4 bolts, one back here, one here, one over there, and one on this side here. And then this whole thing should come off. So right now what I'm doing is I'm moving this pipe here, because you can't, the bolt is directly behind, down at the bottom of this. So this has to go. And then once you take it off, on the back side, you should have 2 thermostats that go in there with a seal. So, oh yeah, and then this, I'm going to remove it too. It's just a hose which needs to be replaced anyway, and it goes back down that way, and all of this is a breather for the engine. So, but anyway, this hose I'm going to replace simply because I have some, and yeah, so this will move. Hopefully we don't have problems with the 4 screws, and then it's a matter of taking this. It's got a little screw back here to the sensor, and then take this off. Now this, if you look at it, well, you can't see it from there, but believe me, it's got a little bit of corrosion, so hopefully we don't have any problems taking that off. But anyway, that's got to come out. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're going to do, and hopefully all goes well. It would be time to replace this. This whole thing here is the water pump. So yeah, so after we're done with this, we'll try that, see what happens. Yeah, so once we remove this thing, we'll do the thermostat and then put it back. We'll follow with that water pump there, and then that's that. The only thing to do after that is replace all the hoses. As you can see, there's one big one there. There's one up here on top. Yeah, and there's some hoses missing from here and there. There's those hoses there. So I will replace all that and reassemble things like this. Right there under that plastic bag is one of those 4-inch pipes like that. And then it would be a matter of putting the antifreeze back on, or back in. But before we do that, once we finish with all this, this is a big problem here. It's really hard to see, but you see that right there? That is a sight glass to see how much antifreeze is in there. There you go, that one right there. The problem is I've been putting some penetrating oil in there, but that thing right there is kind of rusted in there, and it does not want to let go. Now what I'm going to have to do, if I can't get it with penetrating oil and stuff, I'm going to have to go buy a little propane torch or something, heat it up, and hopefully that burns off all the gunk and rust and stuff that's in the threads, so I can take that off. And well, I still have to order that thing. I haven't ordered it, but that needs to come off, because when I took it off, you couldn't see anything. It's just black on that glass, so who knows how much water is in there. Yeah, so anyway, that's the other thing we have to do. The last thing that we need to do before we put the antifreeze back is I need to find 2 copper caps to cap off the lines that are under the, or right by the air conditioning compartment, where we removed the heating and air conditioning stuff that was there, the blower motor, all that stuff. So the only thing that's left is those 2. I need to cap them off, otherwise the water goes up. Now I can shut off the valves over here that are you can't see them from here, but they're back in there somewhere. You have 2 valves that shut off the water or the antifreeze going to the front, but then you're going to run into the problem where you open them, the antifreeze goes in, you have to put my in, get the air out, blah blah blah. So I'd rather do it all at one time. I'm going to have to find those caps, cap them off, and then this way we can put some antifreeze in there, and the lines will be full all the way to the front dash and all around the engine, in the engine, and everything. So as we start it, and open up the antifreeze drain, it'll get some of that air out, and then start it again, run it, well, at the antifreeze back in, and slowly but surely we'll make sure that there's no air in there, because the last thing you want to do is have air in there, and then all of a sudden the air comes out and your engine is with very little water, or antifreeze. I keep saying water, but it's antifreeze. Anyway, yeah, there it is. All right, guys, let me get busy and see if get those things, and then we'll go from there. I will update you later. Okay, so as I told you, I've got that connection to this hose over there, And the way it is you have two, and one allows this fitting to turn while staying stationary. And because of the rust that's there, it wants to turn but twist this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting these clamps here, and I'm going to have to disconnect it from up above so I can bring it here. So when I turn it won't twist. The whole hose will turn, and then once I have it outside, then I can make sure that it does properly. But in the meantime, this is what I... I have to be very careful when I do this, because if I don't, it'll cut through this hose here, and then we have a problem. Okay, so let me work on the one up above. Well, I got this thing here, but I can't get that. This is what you have. Here, you have two like this, but this little center thing here allows this to turn. This is stationary, but this will turn, you know, but I can't get this one to turn here. I use some WD-40, put some penetrating oil. Yeah.
Keep doing.
Yeah, that's what you can do.
All right. This is top wheel. Okay, Josh.
Okay, so what we got is this little connection here broke. That's the water temperature sensor. I can't see it
from here.
Yeah, I can't see it from here, but hopefully the sensor's okay. If not, well, we got to buy another one. Then this connection here that I told you was rusty. Well, it was. Here it cracked, so we're going to have to buy another hose. And then here is the rest of it. Oh.
Okay.
And what you've got is that with, can you see the thermostat here?
What the thermostat?
Right here, these.
Yep.
Okay, so then you get the thermostat, so it's a matter of cleaning all this stuff up and putting them back in. All right, we'll see what happens. Okay, so there you have it. There's the hole for the two thermostats. In a minute, Woon is going to vacuum all this stuff so we can clean this up. Okay, so we're going to clean this up, replace these two. We're going to have to replace this. As you can see, it was pretty much gone. Yeah, so this is one of the things that I'm talking about is preventive maintenance. Now, we could have waited till it blew up and you know, replaced it, but who knows where we would be, out in the middle of nowhere, whatever. How long it would take to get these things, I don't know. And then here's the sensor. As you can see, it was well on its way out too. So yeah, that's how it is. And then right here, I don't know, it seemed like maybe there was a little bit of a leak or something. But either way, it is what it is, and we'll get it done and yeah, and move on. All right, here is this is what it looks like, well, with these two little clips on top of here. But I found it easier if you take and you push the spring out, take them off the clip, then you pop this out, and then you pull this out, and then you have the rubber gasket in here. And this rubber gasket here, it's what's here on the new one. But because it spent several years, heat it up in here, it just kind of molds itself and stays there. Then this comes out. And then I've got to get in here and see this thing here. I got to take that out, this one out. And what that is, it's a seal. And this will go in through here, and the water is in here. So what it does, it seals it so that the water comes in and goes out, you know, but it never comes out here. It just from here to here and in between.
Okay.
And what happens is you have this thing here, and you have that copper in here. This is a 190 degrees. This will actually change because of the heat, and it takes this and actually presses up, and this spring right here becomes compressed, and because this is up, it'll let the water, this, like I said, will be bottomed out over there, so it'll lift and allow the water to circulate. Yeah, so that's what a thermostat is. When the water becomes, well, I keep saying water, but it's antifreeze. When the antifreeze reaches that 190, the water will be flowing through there. And as it cools off, it'll come back down.
Okay.
And that's it, that's all it does. The problem comes in when that stops working. It stays open all the time, or it stays closed, depending on where it goes bad. And your water doesn't circulate, your engine overheats because there is no circulation.
Okay.
So there it is. So we're gonna take the seals out, clean this thing up and everything. And then we're gonna have to order that sensor. And I put some penetrating oil in there because that thing is welded in there from years of rust and whatever. So I put some penetrating oil. Tomorrow we'll give it a try and see what happens. And then we're going to have to locate another one of these right here. As you can see, it's a pretty long hose. So, and again, you know, I just can't say this enough. You have to make a decision on your own because this is not a cheap endeavor, you know. These are about $40 each. No big deal. But because this was cracked, that sensor is totally, it was just about to break. You know, so then your water temperature would not register up there. I mean, everything else would continue to work. But if you had to replace it on the road, that's a big deal. Especially if this thing here doesn't want to come out because of the corrosion, because of this. So this would be a big deal. Why? Because if this was to finish cracking here, as you can see, it's a big crack, you know. If this thing was to crack all the way, water would come shooting out because it's, now you got to remember, this would be hot water as it's circulating. And depending on how long it takes for the antifreeze, depending on how long it would take that antifreeze to come down to a critical level, and you are not paying attention, you could overheat your engine and cost you thousands of dollars. So for this little bit, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but it'd be a lot cheaper than an engine. You know, those are the kind of things that I want to address now, you know. And getting back to another video, it took us almost 3 weeks, I guess, about 3 weeks, to find that engine serial number. Because on the side of the engine where it's at, here, let me show you where it's at. I don't know if you can see it, there's no light in here. storm. There's the other one. If you look right here, on the very underneath this, but all the way up in the engine, there is a flat spot. There's a flat spot, and on there you'll have your engine serial number stamped in. Not on the plate, it's stamped in. The problem was with this one, the problem that we had is that plate was corroded, and because the numbers are not engraved.
It's like this. It just have eat with the rust.
Yeah, there's a flat spot like this, and it's machined when they make the block. They actually take and they make this thing flat, and then they engrave a number in there. But it's not very deep. It's not very deep, so that got corroded, ate the numbers.
Yeah.
So we had no numbers.
Yeah.
But I called a local Freightliner company around here. Well, it's on the other side of town. It's about an hour away. They told me, call the manufacturer, they'll give you a number in no time. I called them about 1 or 2 minutes. I had the number and problem solved. I called them back. Everything was in stock. Boom, boom, boom. It took me, a 2-hour trip, but they had everything. So I went down there, picked it up. I will have to make another trip down there. Well, to see about the hose, to see about the sensor. But before I go, I'm going to take the water pump out because, well, there might be another issue, but there was a $162 core charge. So I give them that, they give me $162, I pick up those parts and save one trip.
Yep.
So, yeah, there it is. So now I'm gonna work on this, clean all this up. Tomorrow we'll take this temperature sensor out and prep this thing for the thermostats, the hose, the sensor, and then put it all back in. So hopefully, I'd say tomorrow, but no, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Saturday, I don't know if they're open, but let's just say next week. We're not going anywhere, so next week is fast enough. But we'll prep all this, put those back in, and set it right there where it goes, just so it covers up the hole. And when we get the hose and the sensor, we'll put it back in and go from there. All right, guys, we'll update you as we go.
Okay.
See ya. Thanks for watching.
ขอบคุณเจ้า
See you next time.
แล้วปะกันแฮมไมนะเจ้า
See you.
บ๊ายบาย